Hey guys, what's up? This is Nikhil from dopemotions.com and welcome to this brand new After Effects tutorial. In today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to create this really nice and stylish looking slide animation, which you can use it as an opener, as a promo, or as an intro, or whatever you like. So it's going to be fun, interesting, and a bit long tutorial. So without any further ado, let's get straight into the video and get started. Alright, so here we are in After Effects, and here I have my image and a texture, to which I'll provide the link in the description so you can go and download it. So the first thing that I'm going to create is my new composition. So let's rename this to main comp. 1920, 1080, 30 frames, 5 seconds should be good enough, and hit OK. So this is going to be our main composition. Then I'm going to create a composition for our image, but this is going to be a bit big comp. Maybe let's go with a 4K, and let's make this 30 frames. I think that would be a bit too big, but the image is big and we need a big image for a reason. Yep, 4K looks pretty good. So let's scale down our image a bit, maybe somewhere around here. Let's make some room. So there we go. Then I need to crop my image in a particular way, and to do that I can use the mask tool, but I'm going to use a track matte. So I'm going to select the rectangle tool and hold Shift and Alt and create a shape like that. Something like that. Let's place it accordingly, and maybe I'll just increase this a bit, maybe somewhere around there. And right off the bat, I can change the track matte of our object, of our image, to alpha matte, so it's gonna get cropped up, and I can just rotate my shape to 45 degrees. So we have something like that, and you can place it wherever you want to. So you can see it's pretty good, and it makes it easy, to move and have fun around with the shape or your image. That's why I don't really like using mask and use track matte instead. So maybe I'll just scale this down a bit. It's just too much. Somewhere around there. Let's move it. Alright, this is looking pretty good. So there we are. Maybe I'll move it a bit right over here, making the subject in the center, something like that. Looks pretty good to me. So let's rename this composition to our image comp. There we go. Then I'm going to create a new composition. This is going to be 1500 by 1500 pixels. And let's rename this to animation. This is gonna be our matte for our animation of the image. And then what I can do is I'm gonna select my rectangle tool and create a shape like that. And let's enter the anchor point up pretty quick. And then basically I'm just gonna duplicate it, hitting Ctrl D. Place it somewhere around there, maybe scale this up, and I'm going to do it pretty randomly. So hit Ctrl D, duplicate it, place it right over here, scale this down a bit, Ctrl D. And the reason I'm doing this, you guys will come to know in a second. You place it somewhere around there, hit Ctrl D, place it somewhere around there, maybe scale this down a bit, Ctrl D one more, and let's place it down right. And then what I'm going to do is, at the very beginning, select all the layers, hit P to bring down the position properties, and create a keyframe just like that. Go to 1 second, and I think I did it wrong. Go to 1 second and create a keyframe. Go back in time, and let's bring all the stuff down just like that. So now we have something like that. And now what I can do is select everything, hit F9 to ease them, go to graph editor and give it a little bit of motion just like that. Now we have something like that. and then I'm just gonna displace them a bit like so. So now we have something like that. As you can see, really abstract kind of a displacement. You can see. And then what I can do is, in the main composition, I can bring in my image comp. There we go. Scale this down somewhere around, let's go with 50%. Place it in the position that you like, something like that. Yep, that looks pretty good actually. And bring in our animation. So here we have our animation, and change the image track matte to alpha matte, and now you can see the image gets revealed like that. And I need to rotate the animation basically to 45 degrees, so you can see looks really cool. I think that is just too fast, so you can always go ahead and make some changes. So I'm just gonna drag it just like that. Let's go right over here. Yep, that is looking pretty good. Yep, I'm happy with that. Let's create a background pretty quick. Let's name this BG. Make it kind of a orangish tint, and from tint I just remembered we need to add a tint to our image as well, just to make it look, you know, a bit more better. So I'm gonna add a tint and change it to kind of a brownish orange tint, something like that. Now it's pretty optional, don't need to really follow the exact thing. It just makes it look a bit more, you know, blend in and composite it a bit more naturally. That looks pretty good right over there, you can see. So the next thing I'm gonna do is add a text. So to do that, we can basically select our text tool and type in anything that you want. I'm just gonna go with the example that I created, so a film by. That is our first text. Let's change the color, something like gray, and select any font that you like. I like to go with Unisans. Looks pretty good actually. Let's select bold and make it really small, something like that. Let's select it, and you can type in anything that you want. I'm gonna go with a name. Let's type in my name actually. Make it a bit bigger and change it. I'll make it a thin, something like that. Maybe it's just too much thin. Let's see, let's go with a regular. Nah, let's go with a light maybe. Yep, light looks a bit better. So we can always select it and just drag it just like that and place it right over here. So you can see looks pretty good. Let's bring this a bit down. So let's select both of them. Let's bring it right over here. That makes more sense. Maybe a film a bit above. And then what I can do is I can select this text, pre-comp it. Let's call this text. Hit OK and use the same animation as a track matte for our text as well. So I'm gonna hit Ctrl D to duplicate it, bring it above our text layer. Scale it down obviously like that, rotate it, set this to 0 maybe. Let's check out the animation. Yeah, rotate it actually on this side, that is -90. So we have something like that. We can obviously scale this up as well accordingly. Let's place it right over here. So make sure the layers cover up all your text, and then you can change the text track matte to alpha matte. So now we have something like that. As you can see, looks pretty good, and it's really simple. It's created using some simple techniques, but it looks really nice and, you know, elegant and stylish as well. So yep, that is so far looking pretty good. Let's drag in the texture onto our BG just to add some bit more character. And by the way, you can obviously create those using Venetial blinds as well, but I just had it, so I'm just gonna use it, maybe 25%, and that is looking pretty good. We can lock the texture and the BG, and let's add some elements. So the first thing I'm gonna do is create a new shape. Let's name this to box, and you can give it any color that you want to give. I'm going to go with a red like that, and let's go into rectangle path 1, unlink this and change this to 500 by 500, or maybe I'll go with 400. Yep, that is looking pretty good. Let's rotate this by 45 degrees, and I'll place it right over there. Just like some accents, you can, you don't need to follow the exact same shape or the exact same format the way I'm doing it, but once you get the idea, you can use your creativity and add some really cool stuff to this. So right over there, I'm gonna change this to, let's go with a darken. Yep, that is looking pretty good. Let me place it somewhere around there. And then what I can do is, after the animation, let's say at 20 frames I want this to come in, so I'm gonna start from 1 second. Hit P for the position, create a keyframe, just drag this keyframe to around, let's say 2 seconds, and drag it right over here. So now we have something like that. See, select this, hit F9 to easy ease this, add something like that. So now we have something like that. Maybe I'll just increase this, so let's go with, yep, this is looking pretty good. And by the way, we need to make everything 3D, so let's select them and make it 3D, so later on we can add a camera angle and make it look even more cool. So yep, that is looking pretty good. Let's hit U, hit Ctrl D to duplicate it, hit U right over here, and I'm gonna bring this down just like that, and let's go right over here, bring it right over there. So now we have something like that. As you can see, looks pretty cool. And I'm also gonna add some rotation, so let's select this to hit R for the rotation, and let's see, I don't really remember which rotation it was, maybe an X, maybe a Z rotation. Yep, Z rotation. So let's create a keyframe on Z rotation, go back in time right over here, bring this up to 0, bring this up to 0. So now we have something like that. Select this, hit F9 to easy ease this, go to graph editor, and let's drag it just like that, a bit more. So now we have something like that. Looks pretty cool. By the way, I'm gonna displace it a bit, so that, let's displace by 10 frames maybe. So now we have something like that. Let's see if it looks good. Yep, that is actually looking pretty good. It's a bit different from my example, but I'm just, doing it randomly, just brainstorming it a bit. Yeah, but actually that is looking pretty cool. And what I think I can do is I can create some more shapes as well. So let's select my pen tool, not my pen tool, the pen tool that we get with After Effects. And we don't need the fill, so let's unfill it. Let's create a stroke, something like that. Okay, that is looking good. Maybe bring this down to around 15 and give it a different color, something like an orange color, something like that. And select this, make it right over here, center the anchor point. Let's select this and center the anchor point, place it somewhere around there. Select the pen tool, and maybe I'll just put it right over here. Bring this down a bit, and let's rename this to line. Then I'm gonna go and add trim parts to this, and I'm gonna add this line to right over here. So let's create a keyframe, go back to 1 second and bring this down to 0. And I need to offset this, so we can just offset this by just like that, and it should work. It's not going to work like that, so hit Ctrl Z, and let's animate the start property just like that. So let's bring it at 100 at 1 second, create a keyframe, go at 2 seconds and 10 frames and bring this down to 0. Oh, maybe I'll go to 4 seconds and drag this right over here. Select this, hit F9, graph editor, and let's drag it just like that. So it's going to be really minimal, as you can see. Yep, that is actually looking pretty good. The next thing that I'm going to do is basically just duplicate it and use it accordingly. So I'm going to duplicate it, Control D, change the color to anything that you want. Just make sure it goes with the slide. And I'm going to bring this right over here. Maybe I'll bring it right over there and increase the shape just like that. Make it look really nice and hit Control D. Bring one shape right over here and bring this down to just really minimal. Let's use my arrow keys, not my arrow keys again, the arrow keys that we get on the keyboards. And let's increase this to 5 maybe, and display this a bit like that, maybe around 20 frames. So we get something like that, as you can see, looking pretty cool. And it's basically, you get the idea of what I'm doing right over here. It's basically some duplications and stuff. So far so good. So let's duplicate it again, hit Control D, move it right over here, and this time I'm gonna make it dotted. So let's go into shape, stroke, and change it from and add, click on this where it says dashes, just click on this plus icon and it's gonna add dashes just like that, as you can see right over here. And it would give some more character to the to the complete comp. Just adding some dashes, maybe you can play around with the stroke width like that, some really cool stuff you can do right over here. So I'm gonna go with something like that and increase the number of dashes basically. So something like that, maybe decrease it, use it something like that. Yep, that is looking actually pretty cool. So let's select it and I'm going to change the color to something like yellow maybe. Now I'm going with kind of a retro kind of a look, but you can obviously make it look even more punchy. You can also make it sci-fi as if you want to. That is looking pretty good. Let's duplicate it, hit Control D, bring this down and change the color to something like a brown creamish color like that. And obviously I'm going to increase the shape, something like that. Displace it again a bit, so we get something like this. You can see it looks pretty cool. I'm going to display this a bit as well. Just take your time and make it look really, really cool. Maybe I'll display this even a bit more. Yep, this is looking pretty good. Let's select my line one, Control D to duplicate it. Let's bring this on the top, and I'm going to rotate this something like that and place it somewhere around there. See, it looks pretty cool. Let's bring this down to 7 maybe, or maybe 5. And I'm gonna add more boxes like this. So to do that, I'm gonna create a new why to create a new shape? You can just take this line as well, hit Ctrl D to duplicate it, place it right over there, hit rotate it, something like maybe around, let's keep it at 0, that is basically it, and increase the shape size just like that. In this, select the path and you can just place it right over there, and I'm gonna hit U so we can see the keyframe and drag it just right over here. So now we have something like that, as you can see, and I'm gonna change the color to a red color and also change this to darken. Place it right over here just to give some bit of a look really nice, you know. With Control D and bring it down just like that, and maybe I'll make it 20. Yep, that is actually looking pretty good, and I'm doing everything really randomly, nothing specific. You don't need to exactly follow it, you just need to get the idea of how I'm doing it, and once you get that, you can create some really cool looking stuff. And as you can see, it is looking really good. Let's make them all 3D. And one more thing I like to add is I'm gonna create a ellipse. We don't need the stroke, we need the fill. Let's make it white, let's make it kind of a gray, and let's select this and create a circle just like that. Go to ellipse 1 and bring this down to very low, like 5 maybe, something like that. And then I'm gonna add a repeater to it. So let's add a repeater. Let's increase the number of copies. Let's increase the offset a bit maybe. Let's go to transform repeater 1 and bring down the position just close enough, just like that, and add one more repeater. Let's increase this to 10 maybe. Go to position, transform repeater 2, bring this to right over here and create something like that. And then we can just basically go right in the repeater 1. Maybe I'll just increase the distance, we don't need that much dots, maybe right over here, and increase the distance a bit like that, make it maybe 3 pixels. Really minimal, but give that kind of a detailed look to it. Let's rename this to dots. And we can also animate the repeater basically, so you can go ahead and animate this repeater like that. So let's do that. So let's go in the beginning, create a keyframe on copies, go to 20 frames and bring this up. Oh, let's set this to, let's go back, set this to 0. Let's go to 20 frames and bring this up. Right, 10 copies looks good. Let's hit F9 and make it around right there. Let's place it in the position that we want. So let's select these dots and I'm gonna place it right over here. So it gives a little bit of, you know, not much, but a little bit of cool look to it. I'm gonna place it below our image just like that. And let's see, select the dots, place it somewhere around there, make it a bit bright, lighter maybe, something like that. You can make it white as well, but something like that. Then I'm gonna duplicate it and I'm gonna place one copy right over here as well, just to add some complexity to it or give some randomness, something like that. And now basically we have something like that. So let's see our complete animation so far. Yep, this is looking pretty good, but not quite there yet. We need to add some more complexity, I guess. I'll add some. Let's select this line. So let's first of all select this line. Where's the line? Yeah, Control D to duplicate it, change this to kind of a gray color, rotate it at 0, and I'm gonna place it right over here and bring this down to 2 pixels. Really minimal, Control D, Control D, Control D, oh, Control D. Just trying to add some complexity, that's it, nothing much. So now we have something like that. That are working in the wrong direction. I didn't really knew that before. So let's select them all, rotate it basically just like that at 180 degrees. So we have something like that, looks pretty cool. Select them. Yep, I think this is looking pretty good. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some camera animation to make it look even more cool. So let's create a new camera, make it 50 millimeters, create a new null object, and this is going to be our camera controller. So let's make it 3D and parent our camera. So let's right click columns and parent our camera to the null object. And now what I can do is I can play around with some stuff, so I can create some really cool animations. So basically I'm gonna start, I want my animation to be placed out right over here. So create a keyframe by hitting on the position, go back in time. Let's go right over here so we can see it, and then I'm gonna zoom it a bit just like that, and also add some rotation. So let's hit R for rotation, U so we can see the keyframes. Then we can just select these two keyframes and drag it right over there. Select this, hit F9 to use those keyframes, and let's drag it just like that. So let's see our animation. That is just too fast. Bring this somewhere around 2 seconds. Let's check it out. Yup, that is looking really cool. And one more thing that I didn't really do, but you can do, is you can actually select this, because these are 3D shapes, so you can always pull them in 3D space, and this way you can create some really nice looking parallax effects. So I really recommend that, have some fun, try some really different stuff. So let's check out our animation, and as you can see, this is looking really cool. So what I did was just using some basic techniques to create a different kind of looking animation, and it's really easy, really simple to do, and I hope it helps. So I hope this video was helpful to you guys, and if it was, don't forget to subscribe, comment and like, and I'll see you in my next video. Till then, take care and thank you so much for watching guys, and don't forget to stay raw, stay creative.